St. Vincent and the Grenadines defends its reputation after being named in a scandal in the United States. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, October 31. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has dismissed international media reports that it is notorious for money laundering and a prime money laundering destination. Those descriptions were used following the indictment in the United States of Paul Manafort, former chairman of the campaign team of President Donald Trump, and his longtime associate Rick Gates on money laundering and tax evasion charges. In a joint statement issued on Monday night, the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee, the Financial Services Authority, and the Financial Intelligence Unit denounced the description, saying it was uninformed, outdated, erroneous, and inaccurate. The statement said, and I quote, "The authorities further underscore that there is no basis for such descriptions, particularly as this country is not on any international sanctions list as a money laundering haven, nor on any other international sanctions list." The authorities emphatically refute that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a money laundering jurisdiction, and on the contrary wish to point out that this country has for several years been effectively addressing money laundering and financial crimes, as well as responsibly participating in international initiatives aimed at combating money laundering, the financing of terrorism, tax offences and financial crimes. End of quote. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines link in the indictment refers to two companies, Global Endeavour Incorporated and Genet that's Limited, according to the indictment. Between at least 2006 and 2015, Manafort and Gates generated tens of millions of dollars in income as a result of work in Ukraine and used scores of United States and foreign corporations, partnerships and bank accounts, including in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to launder the money. But Vincentian authorities say appropriate due diligence and customer verification procedures were undertaken in relation to the companies. They say the country is an active and largely compliant member of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, which is an arm of the International Anti-Money Laundering Standards Setter and the OECD Global Forum. They add that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is cooperating on the global front in the investigation and prosecution of money laundering, tax offences and criminal matters. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he's still awaiting a document from the British authorities explaining why the National Crime Agency arrested former Tourism Minister Assot Michael a week ago. Michael was taken into custody after arriving in London last Monday and questioned by law enforcement authorities, but was later released. Prime Minister Brown told a local radio station that the information he has is still sketchy, but prior to Michael's detention, he was aware that the minister was under some sort of investigation.
And even prior to his arrest, knew that there was an issue in which there was an investigation involving him. And by the way, what I was told, it involves him soliciting contracts for a UK national. Now, I could not have spoken definitively about what transpired with the arrest. He was actually detained or arrested and detained for about, I believe, at least 7 hours. So up to the point of firing him, I had not spoken to him. He himself confirmed that. So there was no way that I could have given any details. I don't have the details.
The Prime Minister said Michael has been consulting with his lawyers in London since his arrest.
It's a serious issue, and I'm quite sure that he will have to fight this matter, and we still hope for the best that he's not charged, because ultimately it will create an issue for the country in terms of the image of the country. Well, he has maintained his innocence. He has indicated that he has done nothing wrong. Now, I can only communicate to the public the little that I know. I am not in a position to say that I have details. I can't even express an opinion.
Michael, who was fired by Brown after his arrest, was due back in Antigua and Barbuda late Tuesday. On Sunday, former Attorney General Justin Simon called on the Integrity Commission to launch a probe into the circumstances that led to Michael's dismissal. In Jamaica, the ruling Jamaica Labour Party increased its margin in the House of Representatives on Monday when Dr. Norman Dunn was declared winner in the by-election in the constituency of St. Mary's South East. In one of 3 by-elections, Dunn went up against Dr. Shane Alexis of the main opposition People's National Party. When the ballots were counted, Dunn received 8,176 votes to defeat Alexis, who polled 7,239. In last year's general election, Dunn lost the seat by only 5 votes to the PNP's Dr. Winston Green. Green died suddenly in August this year, triggering the by-election. Dunn said the victory was for the constituency.
It is evident that the Southeast St. Mary needed a change. And I believe that these persons were determined for that change. It doesn't matter what. No matter what anybody wants to pay them off. No threat of rain. They were just determined to change the course that they have been on for 25 years of 30 years.
Senior JLP member and Justice Minister Delroy Chuck said the win was a result of a full party effort.
There's no doubt that the campaigning by all the party came out in full. We walked the street. You can see the Prime Minister walking barefoot. I was walking in mud several evenings, and all our ministers and MPs really gave support to Norman Dunn, and the organization was just fantastic.
The other by-election were held in the corporate area constituencies of St. Andrews Southern and St. Andrews Southwestern. As expected, the PNP held on to those seats, with Mark Golden winning the seat once held by Dr. Omar Davies in St. Andrews Southern. The PNP's Angela Brown-Burke beat JLP's Victor Hyde to retain the St. Andrews Southwestern seat that was left vacant following the retirement of former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. Based on the victory in St. Mary's Southeastern, the JLP now has 33 seats in the House of Representatives to the PNP's 30. Meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has expressed concern about low voter turnout in all 3 by-elections. Addressing supporters after the St. Mary's Southeastern victory on Monday night, he said Jamaica's democracy is alive, but it is not well. And he says the voter apathy is a cause for concern.
If voter apathy continues, it means that a minority of people will elect the government. And so as Prime Minister and as leader of a political party, I have a job not just to encourage labor rights to vote, but to encourage every single elector to vote. Otherwise, we will find ourselves not being truly able to govern our people because they don't want to participate.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the head of the Prison Officers Association in Trinidad and Tobago defends a controversial voice note. The details of that story and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with diabetes? If so, it is important that you know about Glucerna. Glucerna is a nutritional supplement for people with diabetes and contains Carb Steady, which helps minimize blood sugar spikes. Manage your diabetes with Glucerna. Glucerna, nutrition for people with diabetes, designed for you.
Barbados, it's gonna be lit. FAS 7-star Hennessy and Yellow present Hennessy Artistry, featuring international superstar Beres Hammond, Sizzler,
Cry, even tears.
Movado, Hosfana Fox, Little Rick, and Nikita. And for the first time in Barbados, Tory Lanez. Hosted by Vane and Peter Coppin. The Hennessy experience of a lifetime.
Everyone falls in love sometimes.
Hennessy Artistry, December 2nd, Kensington Oval. Welcome to the weekend. Hennessy, never stop, never settle. Flaunt your taste responsibly.
We continue in Trinidad and Tobago. President of the Prison Officers Association, Saron Richards, is defending a voice note he made about officers staying away from work. He insists he did not call for the officers not to show up for their jobs, but simply made a prediction that they would not be at work. According to sources, many officers who were on shift at the maximum security prison on weekend did not get relief and were forced to work double shifts. Richards says no instructions were given to prison officers to engage in any type of industrial action, but he says officers have been reporting to him their fear of being killed while carrying out their duties. We get more in this report from Janelle Bernard of CNC3 News.
President of the Prison Officers Association, Saron Richard, admits that the voice note that has been circulating belongs to him. However, he says at no point in the message did he give instructions for prison officers to stay off the job.
Because that voice note I gave no directions whatsoever to prison officers. I merely predicted a situation on the basis of what has been reported to me.
Richard says a press release from the National Security Minister indicating that legal action may be taken against the author of the voice message is counterproductive.
I would hope the same energies the minister taking to look into that, I would hope that the same energies be extended to treat with the major issues plaguing the prison service. We haven't met with that minister in over a year.
And while admitting that there are rogue elements in the prison service, Richard says this is true for almost all government bodies. However, he says Minister Fitzgerald Hines' contribution during the budget debate failed to highlight the failure of the state to address the justice system and the prison conditions, which Richard says is a breeding ground for illegal activities.
Mr. Fitzgerald Hines did not highlight prison conditions. He did not highlight the fact that most of these situations emanating, or if not all of these situations emanating from the remand yard.
The Prison Officers Association president says the government is failing prison officers.
What he actually did, according to officers, is communicate a license to the criminal elements to continue killing prison officers.
Meanwhile, Saron has confirmed that yet another prison officer has been attacked. The incident comes less than a week after the murder of a prison officer in the Twin Island Republic. And Richard says, although details of the recent incident are sketchy, the attacks on officers can now be likened to terrorism.
This morning I woke up and heard that another officer was attacked. I can't tell you where the location is at this time. I'm still looking at the details. Right? Another officer and his family were attacked. Just last night, a key apparatus of the state within national security is under attack. So we can say safely the state of Trinidad and Tobago is under attack. And it's not that prison officers are threatened and it's an act of threat in this situation. We'll heighten this now to terrorism.
Still in Trinidad and Tobago, a homeless man who took the Port of Spain City Corporation to court in an attempt to stop it from locking him and other homeless people out of the Tamarind Square at nights has lost his legal challenge. Now the man who brought the claim, Hugh Bernard, may have to pay thousands of dollars to the corporation. The money represents the legal costs incurred by the corporation in responding to Bernard's legal claim. We get more in this CNC3 News report.
While some of these homeless citizens were taking an afternoon rest in Tamarind Square, their counterparts were losing a court battle across town. Tamarind Square is a public space, but its only visitors are some of the most destitute in society. The square provides a home for dozens of men and women who have nowhere else to go. And it's why they've sought the court's intervention in a matter that they believe threatens their use of the venue that offers them rest and refuge. In May, they took the corporation to court over the erection of this fence and the placing of padlocks on the gates. Their concern was it threatened public access to the venue, something they felt was unlawful. During the trial, their attorneys argued that they had a legitimate expectation to be allowed to stay in the square overnight since they have been allowed to do so over the last 50 years. But in her ruling today, Justice Eleanor Joy Donaldson Honeywell found that they failed to satisfy the court that the City Corporation made a decision that should be reviewed. During the trial, their attorney, Senior Counsel Christopher Hamill-Smith, had admitted that the corporation locked 4 out of the 5 gates. But in her ruling, Justice Donaldson Honeywell found that the corporation did not limit the use by the public of Tamarind Square in a matter that was unlawful. The judge also upheld the corporation's position that the homeless have no right under law to reside or sleep there. Today's ruling took an interesting turn when the issue of payment of legal costs arose. Attorney for the City Corporation, John Jeremy, demanded payment, saying that the matter has occupied the court for over a year, costing the taxpayers of the country. Mr. Hamill-Smith, who represented the homeless citizens pro bono, tried to persuade the court otherwise. However, Justice Donaldson Honeywell said, quote, "There is no evidence that they cannot pay." She also asked whether they are incapable of working. The ruling will be reviewed by the City Corporation.
Barbados is now looking to heritage tourism as it seeks to diversify its tourism product in the face of increasing competition. And the authorities are focusing on the sugar and rum industries, which for centuries were the island's main income earners. On Monday night, the Barbados Tourism Product Authority launched the second annual sugar and rum season, which will run from January to April 2018 and will highlight various aspects of the history of both commodities. CEO of the BTPA, Kerry Hall, said it's important that locals and visitors know the story of sugar and rum in Barbados.
We insist that we must tell the story of Barbados to the world. It is a fascinating, rich and compelling story that we believe the world will be interested in hearing. And a large part of this story is the rich history of sugar and rum. As you know, for over 300 years in Barbados, sugar was king and rum was queen. And Barbados is known to be one of the richest countries, richest colonies in the Caribbean region, and the brightest jewel in the British crown due to the great wealth that was accumulated by the sugar and rum industry. And of course, this wealth was made possible through the hard work, the blood, sweat and tears, and on the backs of the enslaved people. And we owe it to them to tell this story.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies fight back in the second and final test against Zimbabwe. Stay with us. Sport is around the corner.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Barbados, it's gonna be lit. FAS 7-star Hennessy and Yellow present Hennessy Artistry, featuring international superstar Beres Hammond. Sizzler.
Dry cry, even tears.
Movado. Pasfana Fox, Little Rick, and Nikita. And for the first time in Barbados, Tory Lanez. Hosted by Vane and Peter Coppin. The Hennessy experience of a lifetime.
Everyone falls in love sometimes.
Hennessy Artistry, December 2nd, Kensington Oval. Welcome to the weekend. Hennessy, never stop, never settle. Flaunt your taste responsibly.
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with diabetes? If so, it is important that you know about Glucerna. Glucerna is a nutritional supplement for people with diabetes and contains Carb Steady, which helps minimize blood sugar spikes. Manage your diabetes with Glucerna. Glucerna, nutrition for people with diabetes, designed for you.
Opener Craig Powell agonizingly missed out on a century, but wicketkeeper Shane Dowich chose the ideal time to break out of a protracted slump as he and captain Jason Holder carved out polished, unbeaten half-centuries to put West Indies in control of the second and final test against Zimbabwe on Tuesday. The left-handed Powell top-scored with 90 to fall short of his fourth test 100, while Dowich stroked 74 and Holder 71 as West Indies fought back gallantly against a spirited Zimbabwe side. Shea Hope extended his excellent form with 40, while Roston Chase scored 32 and night watchman Devendra Bishu 23. West Indies were tested by off-spinner Sikandar Rezar, who ended with 5 for 82 and managed to rock the visitors with key strikes in the second session and left the innings tottering at 230 for 7 at one stage. At the close of the pivotal third day at Queen's Sports Club, the Windies were 374 for 7 in their first innings in reply to Zimbabwe's 326 all out, a lead of 48 heading into Wednesday's penultimate day. Meanwhile, Powell is happy about his side's progress going in today 4. The West Indies have just 3 wickets remaining with a very small lead, but the opening batsman from Nevis is hoping his side can extend the lead.
48 runs ahead, but I think it's good that we've put lots of miles on their legs. Hopefully we could come back tomorrow and 2 set guys in as well, continue to put some miles on their legs, try and stretch the lead as much as possible. Any lead is a good lead on this pitch. Tomorrow we don't know if the pitch is going to start to go up and down or whatever the case is, so as big a lead as possible that we could get, that will help us in trying to push for a result.
Powell also praised the performance of Shane Dowich and skipper Jason Holder.
Shane hasn't been making runs recently, but we know what he's capable of. And before he went out to bat, I just told him, just trust your defense. Once you trust your defense, your scoring opportunities will come. And obviously he has to play to his own game plan and go about his innings however he sees fit, but I thought that he really batted well today. Obviously yesterday being his birthday and sort of his birthday match, more incentive for him. And things seem to work out when it's your birthday also, so it's nice that he got a score and he's still batting. And Jason, obviously we know he plays a counter-attacking role really well, so I think that the way that they both went about it and being familiar with batting with each other, both being from Barbados as well, I think sort of helped the partnership.
Still in cricket, Youth World Cup star Odin Smith has been named in a 13-member West Indies A squad to face Sri Lanka A in the 3-match one-day series, which bowls off Wednesday. The 20-year-old fast bowler was a member of the West Indies under-19 side that won the Youth World Cup in Bangladesh last year, January, and also featured extensively for his native Jamaica Talwas in the year's Caribbean Premier League. Smith has been joined by the trio of all-rounder Kyle Mayers, fast bowler Ransford Beaton, and batsman Andre McCarthy as the new faces in the squad, led by wicketkeeper Jamar Hamilton. Chief selector Courtney Brown said the squad was built on their last President's 11 squad, which played against England earlier this year. West Indies A are coming off a disappointing 2-1 defeat in the 3-match 4-days test series, which wrapped up last weekend. Over to football. Interim head coach of Jamaica's national football team, Theodore Whitmore, has been officially appointed to the top job by the island's Football Federation. He was approved along with Wendell Downswell, both of whom held acting positions since last year. And we get more in this report.
Whitmore has been in the role as national head coach since the dismissal of former coach Winfried Schaefer last year, with Jerome Waite as his right-hand man. The two were given the job on an interim basis to see Jamaica through the CFU and Gold Cup competitions, but after the death of the then JFF president, Captain Horace Burrell, their positions have been up in the air. But with Michael Ricketts now at the helm of the JFF, things have been ratified, and the two have been given the job for 2 years, subject to the finalization of their contracts. Manchester FA President Dalton Wint has also been given the duty of General Secretary on a permanent basis. He succeeded Raymond Grant, who resigned the post on September 16. Grant will now chair the Infrastructural Development Committee. The National Youth Committee will be chaired by Andre Virtue. Lionel McLean has been relieved of the Technical Committee Chairman position, and that has now gone to Everton Tomlinson of the Westmoreland FA. Peter Reid has replaced Garfield Sinclair as Chairman of the Finance Committee. Patrick Malcolm takes up the role as Chairman of the Referees Committee. Interestingly, Craig Butler, who tried his hand in the race for JFF President and later the Director of Football, has been named on the Youth Development Committee. Meanwhile, the JFF has selected Director of Football Wendell Downswell, National Grassroots Coordinator Andre Virtue, and National Under-15 Assistant Coach Davian Ferguson to participate in the CONCACAF Train the Trainers regional program to be held in Barbados from November 1 to 3.
Staying with football, substitute Deshaun Howell dramatically struck twice late on as Barbados wiped out a 2-goal halftime deficit to beat Bermuda 3-2 in a friendly international at the National Stadium over the weekend.
Bermuda fell to a stunning 3-2 defeat at the hands of Barbados on Saturday evening at the National Sports Center. Bermuda took a 1-0 lead through a Willie Clemens header in the 8th minute. Jalen Bathurst doubled the Bermuda lead when he scored from close range in the 19th minute. Barbados enjoyed the early pressure in the second half, and they were rewarded with a goal in the 59th minute when a Zico Edmeade shot from the edge of the box from the back of the net, beating Horacio Hunt to his right. Bermuda looked to be heading for the win, but Barbados scored 2 goals in 2 minutes to take a 3-2 lead and eventually the win in the 88th minute. Deshaun Howell, who had only entered the game minutes earlier, capitalized on a mistake by the Bermuda goalkeeper. A back pass saw Hunt miscontrol the ball and it bounced too far away from him, allowing Howell to score into an empty net. With the Bermuda fans still digesting what they had just witnessed, Howell scored again. He beat his defender inside the box and scored past an advancing Bermuda goalkeeper to earn Barbados that come from behind win. Bermuda coach Kyle Lightbourne summed up the game this way.
I thought first half we played well, we bossed the game, we controlled it, and at little signs in that game, we said if we become complacent, which we did, we became complacent, and it gave them a little foot in the game, and they got that. We always said, we need to get that third goal. You know, if it's going to be a third goal in the game, let it be us.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the U.S., Chef Tom Akins of the U.K., Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit GoingPlacesTravel.com to book your packages and visit www.foodandrum.com for more information.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and Carib Vision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the U.S., Chef Tom Akins of the U.K., Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit GoingPlacesTravel.com to book your packages and visit www.foodandrum.com for more information.
The major developments of this day: St. Vincent and the Grenadines defends its reputation after being named in a scandal in the United States. And in sport, West Indies fight back on day 3 of the second and final test against Zimbabwe. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a good night.